Hey there, Chad here, and this is going to be probably the second video I post today. I'm actually probably 6 or so hours late to posting this, but it's officially 1 month birthday, sort of, I guess, for Chibi AI. He's exactly 1 month old today in terms of how long he's been available to the public. He did have about a month or so in a private beta, but anyway. What I wanted to cover was kind of just I was doing a recap of everything that has progressed with Chibi over the last month. And sometimes when you put things into perspective like that, it's just kind of crazy how much stuff has changed and how much he's improved over just a month. And so this post to the right that you see on the screen here is what I've posted into the Chibi AI community. And it's a recap of everything. If you just let me scroll through here, so this is the sort of things that are changed and updated over the course of just a month. And all these little like 1.1, 1.13, those are all links over to the change log. Whenever I make a change to Chibi, there's an associated change log entry that I make so that you can follow along and see all the different things that are progressing with Chibi. And so this video is just, let me just go over to this recap a little bit, and I'll kind of show you what things look like now in Chibi AI too. So way back when I say way back, January 5th, when Chibi kind of launched live to the public, we started by removing the invite-only system, which made it open to everybody to join. But we also introduced a starter plan. And basically the starter plan is, not everybody needs to be able to write unlimited amount of words. Maybe you just write, 5 to 10 blog posts a month or something, and you just don't want to spend the full price for what the unlimited plan costs. So unlimited in Chibi is $59 a month, and the starter plan is $39 a month. So you can save $20 a month if you want to, if you don't need to write, unlimited amounts of content by using the starter plan. After that, pretty shortly after that, 1.1 came out and we introduced the Pathways button. And let me just go ahead and go to a new document. The Pathways button is this one here. Everything's kind of doled out, and I'll show you in changelog we talk about that. But this right here is the Pathways button. And the Pathways button is the tool that will give you a couple of quick ideas for the content that you're in at the moment. I'm not going to really go over everything in depth here. I just want to kind of show you that Pathways was something that was introduced like almost, I want to say probably the day after that Chibi went live. At the same time, or no, it was actually the same day as the public launch. At the same time, auto-saving, document tagging, and cloning became a thing. Now, auto-saving is, so if you make some changes here, after a couple of seconds, Chibi will automatically save your document. Sounds like a pretty normal thing, but when you're in the middle of developing stuff, there's a lot of different things you got to build. And originally, Chibi did not auto-save, so it was on the user to click that save button whenever they wanted to. Although, if you don't want that behavior, this right here will toggle auto-saving off. So maybe you don't want it to overwrite your changes. You just want to maybe experiment with something. You can toggle that off, do all kinds of stuff, and if you don't like it, then you don't save it. You just back out, and your changes will be lost. But that's what you were expecting at that point, right? Then we have document tagging. So like up here, you can tag your document. Let's just take this out and let's give it a title: new tagged document, and let's call it notes or something. And that'll tag it as notes. And then when you go back to your documents list, you'll be able to see here's new tag document. It's tagged with notes. There's no content in it, so it's kind of blank there. But whenever you click on here, you can see all your documents that are tagged notes. The other thing is the ability to clone documents. So you got this new tag document, and you can click here, and it'll create a clone of that document. So now you have two, and you can go in and make different changes. And if you actually go to that tag, you should have two. So yeah, gives you some ability to, maybe you have like a template or something. A really good use for this might actually be if you have some certain types of content that you write frequently. You could create a document that is kind of just an outline or a template or whatever it is that you always use, and then you can clone from it whenever you start a new document and have work faster that way maybe. After that, we came down and added Markdown support. So Markdown, let's see, I got one of these that I recently was doing. That this one here maybe. Well, this one doesn't have any Markdown in it. Well, kind of does, but I can add some Markdown real quick. So you can add some. So 2 hashtags in Markdown means an H2. So we'll make these H2s. Oops. And then save the document. And if you go into preview, you can see headings and lists and stuff like that. The preview was also added at that point when the Markdown became a thing. And also let me go back to preview. When you're in preview, you can actually click this and it'll copy the HTML. And when you paste that into something like WordPress or maybe Squarespace and stuff, it'll keep all the formatting for you, which is really cool. And then we moved on. I added some changes to these tools up here. And actually, if you click on this right here, it'll show you the help. I'll go ahead and click and show you that now. There's some mouse modifiers to these tools now. So if you hold down Shift when you click the mobile cut tool, which normally would split a large wall of text into little small paragraphs, that'd be really nice for like a viewing on a small screen. Let's go to a different document and see if I can show you. Let's see, let's go here. So you get some big chunks of text, right? And if you're looking at this on a small screen, that's going to be kind of annoying to read, right? Because it's just so much. But if you actually select all this and hit the mobile cut button, it'll break it out into like a couple of sentences, 2 or 3 sentences each, right? Into something that's much more friendly for using on a small screen. But you can also do the opposite now, because if you recall, holding down Shift and then clicking it will merge paragraphs. And so we can go like this, select all those things, hold down Shift, and when we click it, brings them all together again. And it may or may not be what you're looking for, but it's a tool to help you do that really kind of quickly. And that also, we have the Shift modifier and also an Option modifier. It's Alt in Windows that will do different things. And these are bunched up because it's way zoomed in right now. It normally looks like that. And so if you shift click the title casing, it's actually going to lowercase everything instead. So it does the opposite, kind of like what the holding down Shift for the mobile cut does. It does the opposite. It merges everything when you hold down Shift. But if you hold down the Option key, it'll capitalize just the first word. And so you might use that on like things that are like a list. Like let's say that you, I don't know, this is probably going to be a really terrible outline because it's not a proper thing here. Okay, but it doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is, I'm trying to show you is this title casing tool, right? So if you've got, let's say, actually, you know what? Let's just do headlines. And there we go. So this is already title cased. So if you don't want it title cased and you hold down Shift when you click the title casing button, it'll lowercase everything. And if you want just the first letter capitalized, you can hold down Option when you click it and it'll capitalize just the first. And again, if you want it back to title casing, you just click it normal. So that's an interesting tool. And somebody had suggested that they wanted a way to quickly lowercase everything, so I came up with those mouse modifiers on that day. Not long after that, we kind of started coming up with the official training course, which it's in the community. It's already a little outdated, unfortunately. Some of the more recent changes have made have changed Chibi enough to where I'm going to have to start redoing some of those lessons in there already. I guess it comes with the territory, right? When you make a lot of improvements quick, that's part of what happens. Another thing is the table of contents tool. Probably not going to be good to show you in this article. Let's go back to the other one, the apple pies, where I just added these headings. So what this means is like these are headings, right? H2s. And let's say that you had a really long, like this is not so long, but pretend like it was really long, right? Maybe you've got a 5,000 word, pillar post that you're writing for your blog, and a lot of the content is scrolled down. It's not above the fold, right? You can actually hover over here, and the table of contents will appear, and these are produced from those H2s, those double hashtags. So you'll be able to use this to quickly jump to where those are. So pay attention down here where it says what makes a good apple pie. And if I go, see, like right now my cursor is there. Let me put my cursor up here somewhere. But if I hover over this and then I pick this, my cursor will go right back there, right? So imagine if it was way down there and you had something you need to jump to. You just go here, just jump right to it from that table of contents tool. You just right on the heels of that, the first short form tool came out, the meta descriptions. So if I go to my tools here and I go to meta description, we have this here. Now you can use Chibi to produce some meta descriptions. I don't really have anything here to paste in there to show, but well, maybe let's just see what happens. This is going to be awkward, maybe. Oops. Happy birthday, Chibi AI. I don't know. Let's see. What would somebody search for? I guess just Chibi AI. So the thing is that, I mean, the AI probably doesn't know what Chibi AI is technically, right? It's not like it's trained on that. And Chibi is a new product. And so we would also add a paragraph here. Let's just pick something from here. Let's just take this and we'll paste it in here. Might be a little bit long, but let's take this and we'll write meta. More what I want to do is just kind of show you the tool. So it's going to do, this one is 132 characters. One of the really cool things about the short form tools in Chibi is that you can actually click inside of here and make changes to it if you don't like it. And if it's not close enough to what you wanted. Of course, you can delete it, you can copy it, and this will push it over into the scratch pad. So let me go ahead and just clear the scratch pad right now, and I click on that, and it puts it in the scratch pad. So this is something that will persist. This list of results will actually disappear if you leave this and come back. But the scratch pad remains. And actually, this scratch pad is on all the short form tools, so you'll be able to share content between them as well. You can always, of course, write another one and have, happy birthday, and it's supposed to, okay, yeah, key features and changes in Chibi. Nice, okay. So that's really cool. I like that one more. Go ahead and add that one as well. Oops, my cursor was in the wrong spot. Now the other capabilities here is we can remove, let me just remove all these to show this off, is if you want all of these results in your scratch pad, you can click up here and copy all the results. And then Chibi here is telling you how many characters and words that are in there. But if you select something, it'll change that to just the selected count. So you can see just those. It's pretty cool. And of course, with each individual, you can see in what the word count is and character count is. And you can even reorder them if you want to. In the case of a meta description, there's probably not much reason for doing that. But later, when there's other tools that might be helping you produce outlines and things like that, that might be a really cool feature, right? So all of that kind of came with the short form tools. The next short form tool that came out after meta descriptions was keywords to hook. And this one's kind of interesting because you could take something like SEO, web design, and Chibi can try to come up with some hooks for you that you might use on like landing pages and stuff like that. And we're working with it all, contact SEO. Yeah, maybe don't want this part. You can take that off and you're like, okay, I like that. Get it over there. And then, you can just kind of work from there. So whatever your keyword terms are, garden, homes, Atlanta. Let's clear the list. I didn't mention that. This will clear just the one entry. This will clear the entire list. So we can get rid of that. And let's write another hook. Blacktown sold, Medellin smashed. I don't know anything about Atlanta, so if those are neighborhoods or anything in Atlanta, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, so that's the keywords to hook tool that kind of came out too. Things like word count, we talked about that. I briefly added, let me go back to just the dashboard here. I briefly added the ability for people to join Chibi by email address only, where it was literally one of those magic, kind of links where it was like you would join Chibi with your email address and Chibi would send you an email and then you'd click it and then it would establish you as an authenticated user. And every time you wanted to log in, it would email you a login link, that kind of scenario. But it was quickly removed because I was planning on adding something else that came later, which is freemium access. And, with the ability to join for free, the limitation to join only right now is you have to use a Google account to connect. In the future, that might change to like a Microsoft account, Apple account, stuff like that. But the reason for joining or using those types of connections only is because it's harder to produce, multiples of those accounts, to the point where you could spam Chibi, basically roll accounts to keep free access forever, right? So, yeah, unfortunately, to combat that, maybe in the future there could be something this might make a comeback, but for now, because we have freemium access, it's Google account only. But the freemium access does give you about 3,500 words that you can use to you can jump into. Well, there's one thing you can't use, but you could jump into your documents. You can start writing. You can use the long form editor. There might be some components of the long form editor in the future that kind of get limited away from freemium users, because they're going to be using some really advanced techniques in the AI, and of course that stuff costs more money to run. So I might have to block off some parts, but for now, the stuff that's in there, in the way it's designed, you basically have full access to the long form editor and can write up to 3,500 words. Now, it doesn't block you out. Of course, you can write in Chibi as much as you want, but 3,500 words of what Chibi can create for you. And then there's a tool, the Google Responsive Ads tool. It's got this little mark on it. It's a premium tool. This is not available to the freemium users. So, continuing on. Remember, this is everything that was created in a month. The flow button made a strong comeback. The flow button originally was there, but it was designed way differently in the original incarnation of it. It was kind of a way to just add more content along the lines of like the right button. And I decided to remove it because it wasn't different enough from the right button. But the flow button came back. It's definitely it's improved, because now the flow button has the ability to follow patterns and stuff. So in theory, if I put a little mark there to start another bullet list item, and I use the flow button, which is this one here inside of this core workflows buttons, if I use that, in theory, he should write some more. Now, see, that's the part of the problem with the flow button, is that Chibi gets to riff off of whatever he wants. So I can undo that, and let's just maybe try again. Sometimes the first try doesn't. Okay. Touche. He wants to embarrass me on camera, then that's what he's going to do, I guess. Let's see if we can force him to do it with a little bit of a context cutoff. Okay, there we go. So Chibi was looking back. He was seeing all this stuff up here, and he didn't really follow the list anymore. But cutting off the context with the triple slash, so now he doesn't look any higher up than that triple slash, he decided to finally start writing a list. So yeah, the flow, you can think of the flow button as a little bit more of that wild card. It's, if you want to see what Chibi will produce for you next, you would use that. The standard right button stays much more focused on the topic and stuff like that, but the right button does not follow patterns. So then the seed button kind of received a really big update, and eventually joined up here in the core workflow buttons. So Chibi's seed button is basically where you would take a topic, and he would write a couple of sentences, 2 or 3 sentences about that topic, the topic being something that you write in here. And then when you click that, the seed button uses only this to produce a couple of sentences. So it's perfect when you have a brand new topic, or you're starting a brand new document and you have nothing in here, right? So like, the steps to make a homemade apple pie. See how the seed button lit up? That means it can be used now. You click on that, he's going to write a couple of sentences in here to get you started, which opens up access to all the other tools who need some context there in your document. Okay, so moving on, we got notifications. Somebody had brought up the point that notifications were kind of becoming annoying. The way that Chibi previously worked was whenever you did something that didn't quite fit with what was needed. So what you just experienced with all the buttons being disabled, and then the one seed button lighting up when you put enough in the topic, that was the result of doing this, these changes here, because of the notifications. So what would happen is if you forgot and maybe you left the topic empty and you tried to hit a button, it would pop up a message, a notification saying, hey, you needed a topic in here. And since the notifications and stuff in Chibi require you to click it to make it go away, It was kind of becoming a little bit of an annoying thing. And somebody had asked to have those messages automatically fade away on their own, which is a good idea too. But what I decided to do was start with the whole concept of Chibi being kind of locked down until you start doing the right steps first, because it's just a better workflow and a better experience. And then, so some of the bigger changes kind of happened yesterday, which I guess is now the day before yesterday technically. But what I did was kind of make a bunch of different changes to the UI. So these components here can now be toggled away so that they can hide and make the experience just a bit cleaner. So anything that you can see over here that's kind of like lit up in red right now, which would be blue if you're in dark mode, when you click them, you can toggle them off. So you can hide the tools if you don't need them, if you don't really use them. If you never really use these either, you can hide those. The mode switcher is here. You can switch between the different modes, which of course changes the tools that you have access to. These modes also change these core workflow buttons also. They kind of fluctuate between being less creative when you're in article mode and being the most creative when you're in story mode. Story mode is not something I've published live yet, so when you're looking at this when Chibi live, it's only going to go up to persona. So sorry if you see that here in the video and you rush to Chibi to see it. It's not there yet, but there's going to be some really cool stuff in there. Can't wait to show it to you. So yeah, then you can hide that if you want to. That's also where preview is located, so you can hide that way. This is the information panel, the document info panel. Right now there's no content in here, so let me just go to a different one here. Go to this, and when I click on the document info panel, it's going to tell me how many words, characters, reading time, number of paragraphs, pages, the reading grade score. This is actually the calculation of the Fleisch-Kincaid algorithm that they had developed. So it's kind of what the rest of the industry uses for this score, and that's calculated in real time actually. So when you're making all kinds of changes to your content, like for instance, by the way, if you select something, it's going to calculate all those scores and everything for just the selected content as well, which is really cool. Because pretend like you had, actually, let me just go ahead and get rid of this content that we added here. And let's split this. So like pretend that you're in the middle of put this up here. You're in the middle of writing your content, and you think that one section maybe feels a little bit difficult to read. You highlight it, and you're like, okay. Well, in this case, he's given me a score of 78. That's not too bad. 64. There we go. So below 65 means it's a little bit difficult to read. Above 65 means it's good. And of course, if you're aiming for a younger target audience that maybe is in lower grades or something, and you want to aim for as close to 100 as you can. But so now we're looking at this, we're going, oh, okay, so there's 52 words in here, 64 score. That means there's words in there that have like lots of syllables, maybe a little bit compound words, lots of words in one sentence instead of breaking up sentences appropriately. Things like that. You might look at it to fix your score. Pretty cool feature there, I think. And that's the document info. And this is, the keyboard shortcut stuff, which is really cool. This wasn't there until probably just yesterday. So the day before yesterday. But yeah, so this is the growth and stuff that Chibi has gone through in just a single month. There's so many other little things that are going on down here too that weren't there. Like in this article mode, list test is something that's only here local right now. This is just me testing some stuff to see if I want to make a change to the list tool. But we have list, how-to list, features list. These are different things that you can use inside of your content to get different types of content created for you by Chibi. So like a how-to list might be good for here. So like what makes an apple pie? Let's see, here we go. Let me just go ahead and drop this down. So you might say, just change this to how to make a homemade apple pie. And then just click one line below it, because that's where the input's going to start when Chibi starts writing, or output's going to start when Chibi starts writing. And then click how to list. And then Chibi is going to just show you how to create an apple pie. And the interesting thing too is if you don't whoops, if you don't start with how to, and you click the how to list, he's going to, hey, it's got to start with a how to. And notice how the notification went away by itself as well. So yeah, you just gotta go back in there and make sure that there's a how-to there before you click the how-to list. And there might be other tools like that in the future, but for now, that's the only one that actually checks if you've got a how-to there or not. And yeah, so these other tools, right? You get summarize, you get outline, you get all these different things that are now a part of the article area or the article mode. And much of them are brand new as of yesterday, mostly around producing lists. And these are going to get better over time. These are just added, means that Chibi is brand new at doing this, but he's going to learn how to do it better over the course of the next month or two. And yeah, so that's been a month that Chibi has been live. In the course of this month, let's go down here and just look at this kind of stuff, right? In the course of this month, Chibi has he's added himself 5.2 million words to the content for the users of Chibi AI, and overall in this month, 13 million words have been written inside of Chibi AI, which I think is just crazy, because I think just a month ago when he was in private beta and we were adding, we probably had a couple of hundred users join the private beta, testing, and we did in the first month, I think it was like 2.6 or 2 point something million words. So he's kind of doubled in size, a little bit more than that. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. I just can't believe it. When just writing this recap was just something that was kind of crazy for me, because I'm head down. I'm looking down, typing, creating content, trying to figure out how to make Chibi better. I'm not sometimes looking up and seeing the big picture. But today, when I was writing this up for my community, or for the Chibi AI community, I had to give a lot of shout outs to, John Bass for running the community. He's the one that keeps that thing running. He's awesome. Tara for her honest feedback. I mean, honestly, that's sometimes hard to come by. You get a lot of people that say, oh, Chibi's great, but sometimes there's something else that needs to be said that would help me push Chibi to be even better, and I appreciate that. Keith was pivotal in making the Google responsive ads headline tool what it is today, and that thing is amazing. If you're a person who's out there trying to write all those headlines that you need to do for those Google responsive ads, that tool is going to be something huge for you. And Keith is coming out with a video that's going to be explaining his workflow for creating, I guess, for if you're in that industry, I guess you have to create hundreds of those little headlines. And so that's what this tool is going to do for you. And Keith was the one who helped make that happen. Tommy's, he's the kind of, and it's just, sometimes you just need that person who takes the time to record a video that showcases what it is that, he sees as something that he wants to either fix or improve, make changes. And when you can see that feedback visually like that, sometimes it really helps. And so, Tommy, I really appreciate it. And then Stuart, sometimes you need that person, who just tells you how it is, right? And sometimes, like these AI tools, they're not perfect. Sometimes the content that comes back, from Chibi is so freaking perfect that you just use it as it is. Many times, most of the time, probably it comes back pretty good, and you need to make your changes to change it to your voice. But sometimes it's just not good, right? And Stuart's always been there to let me know what's not good, so I appreciate that. I hope someday that I can turn Stuart into a Chibi champion, though. Carol and Stuart, they've been just, Stuart Alexander, different Stuart, has been, they were there from the beginning almost, and just, they were the ones that kind of helped us get the community started. They were sharing and explaining it with their workflows and asking for help and just participating, and that really helps. And yeah, I just wanted to say, happy birthday to Chibi for this is his first month. If you haven't used Chibi yet, it's free to try. You get 3,500 words per month. The usage resets on the first of every month. And yeah, give it a shot. It's not so much to upgrade to the starter plan if you don't need to write a ton of content. It's just $39 a month, and you get to see, you'll experience the growth for the next month too, because I'm not stopping here. This is not like, a recap of the first month and I'm done. Nope, going from here. We've got story mode coming. There's going to be some really interesting tools that I just can't share, because if I do, yeah, it's going to it might be something that competitors might try and use. But I've got a lot of stuff coming, and I can't wait to share it all with you. And yeah, so that's Chibi's recap for his first month birthday. I wonder what he's going to look like a year from now. It's going to be crazy. But anyways, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, you can leave a comment, or better yet, head over to the Chibi community, join there, and let's talk about Chibi and ways we can make it better, or talk about workflows and anything you want about Chibi, or even content creation in general. We'll help you out. We'll work with you. And if I see something that you're talking about that I think Chibi can do better to help you for your case, I'll probably do it. So yeah, until next time, take care.